Hi and welcome to another edition of the South China Morning Post's Racing Podcast. I'm Alan Aitken, and first a look at the news for today. And the news is about the jockeys. Of course, early in the week we had Alex Lloyd returning a positive to methylephedrine, and the inquiry into that positive drug test has been set down for tomorrow. And we will see what becomes of Alex Lloyd. Of course, methelephrine is a drug used in diet pills and cough medicines, so that may be the reason why it has turned up in his urine sample. Well, yesterday the news was not so good for star apprentice Mathew Chadwick and for veteran South African Lloyd. Chadwick, first of all, although he was released with a clean bill of health from hospital on Monday after his fall that left him unconscious at Sha Tin on Sunday, he has not been cleared to ride until after next Wednesday. The certificate presented to stewards yesterday said he would not be fit to ride at this weekend's Saturday program at Sha Tin or at Happy Valley next week, and that the jockey would require a medical clearance after that to be able to ride again. And Chief Steward Kim Kelly said that it was not only the concussion that Chadwick suffered, but he said his blood picture hasn't been 100% satisfactory for doctors who want to see a little more time before he rides again. For Lloyd, he'll be 3 weeks in a cast on that injured left ankle. He's found a fracture in it. Although Jeff thought he'd be right to ride again this weekend, continuing pain in the ankle saw him head off for an MRI scan, and it found what the x-rays didn't, a fracture in the left ankle, and he will be out of action for at least another 3 weeks. Wednesday, of course, is on the rails day, and in today's rails column, inside the sporting section of the South China Morning Post, I have a look back at what a big day Sa Ladies Purse Day has become, with the sponsoring of Sa and the marketing department of the Jockey Club getting right behind it, and I think it's become one of the really good days on the Hong Kong calendar. Also a look at the Hong Kong Vase, with the possibility that for a change, Hong Kong horses might be real contenders in the Vase this year, despite the likely presence of the Triple Arc runner-up Yum Zane. I invite you to take a look at the rails in today's sporting section of the newspaper or online at www.racing.scmp.com. Well, on to tonight's feature race at Happy Valley, and that comes along in race 7. It's the Hong Kong Golf Club Centenary Cup, and I'm looking for horse number 10, Vanquish Delight, to spring a form reversal. Now, he was quite an up-and-coming stayer at the end of last season, Vanquish Delight, a slow maturing horse by Redout's Choice, who was just starting to hit his straps as the distances got longer as a 3-year-old, and I expect as a 4-year-old he's going to make some further progress. But that was all knocked on the head first up. Very disappointing finishing last at Sha Tin with no obvious excuse being found by either the vets or the stewards. But Casper Founds took him to the trials last Friday. The horse trialled much better and gave every indication that he's back on song for tonight's feature event. And with a lightweight and an inside draw, he's my pick for the Hong Kong Golf Club Centenary Cup. Jockey challenge time now, and apprentice Keith Yeung is riding the crest of a winning wave at present that sees him sitting in 5th spot on the jockey standings. Now that's all going to come to a halt after Saturday's meeting because he has a careless riding suspension to serve, but odds makers posted him as the Jockey Challenge favourite at 4.6 last night, ahead of Brett Preble at 4.7, Douglas Whyte at 5.2, and another apprentice, Derek Leung at 5.5. I thought Douglas Whyte represented great value in the challenge tonight. He's usually at cramped odds, but his supporters looking at 5.2 for tonight's challenge, possibly better if he doesn't fire in the first race or two. But I think he's got great rides all night, definitely chances of picking up points in virtually every race, and Douglas Whyte is my value pick for the Jockey Challenge. Best bet, and that comes early in the night. It's race 2, number 2, Soviet Pearl. Got plenty of time for this horse, and he will relish the step up from the sprint, which he won at big odds as his first run this season, into a mile, and that's really going to be right up his alley. This is going to be his forte, I think, the Happy Valley Mile. He's drawn well, and he looks the best bet of the night to me. Race 2, number 2, Soviet Pearl. Well, that's all for this edition of the South China Morning Post Racing Podcast. For more on anything you've heard here, have a look online at www.racing.scmp.com or pick up your copy of today's South China Morning Post with the lift-out guide for Happy Valley tonight. I'm Alan Aitken. Good punting.